Before we dive into today's episode, I want to tell you about a free 3-act worksheet to help you structure your story. Whether you're a plotter or a pantser, a novelist, or short fiction writer, this 3-act worksheet will help you navigate your material and even begin each new story with a better plan. Download yours at nancypanuccio.com/act. Stop getting stuck in the middle of your draft. Go grab this free worksheet, nancypanuccio.com/act. Resistance is a compass. If a scene feels uncomfortable to write, it most likely matters. That's exactly where the story's heartbeat is. Writer Unleashed is for you, a writer who has a story you want to bring onto the page and into the hearts and minds of readers. I'm Nancy Panuccio, writer, editor, and book coach. Each week, we'll explore techniques, mindsets, and inspiration for writing stories readers can't put down. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Now, let's begin. You've been at this novel or memoir for months, maybe even years. You've got pages, sometimes even whole chapters, but the finish line keeps slipping further away. You keep asking yourself, why can't I just get this book done? If that sounds like you, don't worry, you are not alone. Finishing a novel or a memoir is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. And most writers underestimate how much time and focus it requires. And most writers stall for the same handful of reasons. So today, I'm going to walk you through 5 of the biggest reasons you're still not finished with your novel and what you can do about each one. So let's get right to it. Reason number 1, you're trying to perfect as you go. If you keep polishing page 1, chapter 1, sentence 1, you're not really moving forward. You're not even really writing a novel. You're rearranging furniture in a house that doesn't even have walls yet. I see this all the time. Writers spend 3 weeks or more crafting the perfect opening paragraph, and then they get frustrated when they can't move forward. They'll write a scene, read it the next day, they'll hate it, and spend another week fixing it instead of moving forward, instead of writing what comes next. Editing while drafting creates the illusion of progress. You feel busy, you feel productive, but instead of finishing scenes and finishing chapters, you're spinning in circles and you're never moving forward. Here's the truth. Your first draft isn't supposed to be remarkable. It doesn't even have to be good. It's supposed to exist. Anne Lamott calls them shitty first drafts for a reason. Every published author you admire wrote terrible first drafts. The difference is they kept going. Revision is where the magic happens, but only after you've got the whole story down. You can't fix what doesn't exist. So if you recognize yourself here, and I'm raising my hand because I'm guilty of this too, try this. Commit to drafting messy. Set a timer for your writing sessions and don't allow yourself to edit, only move forward. What happens is in the process of letting go of this need to be perfect, you get into a flow. You become more receptive. So don't allow yourself to edit, only move forward. If you catch yourself going back to pick something, literally highlight it and make a note to fix and revision, then keep writing. Remember, a finished bad novel can become a great novel through revision, But a perfect first chapter that never goes anywhere will always be just that, one perfect chapter. And it makes it harder to move forward. Your first chapter will change once you write your ending. There's a relationship between how your story opens and how it ends. You'll want to bring some reflecting images and elements that help unify the story. So your beginning is likely to change. So don't get stuck there. Okay, reason number 2, you don't have a clear roadmap. Most writers hit a wall in Act 2. They start strong, often with an exciting opening, but somewhere in the middle, the story gets muddy and scenes start to wander, and suddenly the momentum is gone. The urgency is gone. And this usually happens because you don't know where your story is headed. You might have a vague idea of the ending. Maybe your protagonist saves the day or the couple gets together, but there's no clear path to get there. You want to think of it like a road trip. If you just start driving without a map, you might enjoy the first few miles, but eventually you'll end up lost, frustrated, maybe even out of gas, with no idea which direction leads home. Now, I'm not saying you need a detailed outline with every scene plotted out. Some writers thrive on discovery, others thrive with an outline, but you need to know your major signposts, the key turning points that have to happen for your story to work. So a simple story map, like the 3-act framework, gives you direction. Act 1, set up your character and their world, then give them a problem they can't ignore. In Act 2, you make that problem worse, you complicate everything, and you push your character to their breaking point. Act 3, force them to face the problem head on and change. This doesn't kill creativity, it actually frees it, because you always know the next turn. You can discover the details as you go, but you're never completely lost. And your character is guiding the ship. The external events, your plot, serves the character, not the other way around. So, if you've been wandering in the middle of your book, feeling like your characters are just talking in circles, take a step back and sketch out your story's roadmap. Identify the 5 to 8 major scenes that absolutely must happen, then write toward the next one. Okay, on to reason number 3. You're avoiding hard emotional truths. Every powerful story demands emotional honesty, but writing those raw, vulnerable moments is not easy. Maybe it's the scene where your character confronts their biggest fear. Maybe it's the moment they have to admit they were wrong or face a painful truth about themselves. These are the scenes that matter most, and they're often the ones we avoid writing. So what happens? You skim the surface. You write around the emotional center instead of through it. Or you just don't probe it. You avoid the tough stuff, and pretty soon the story feels flat both to you and eventually to your readers. When you lose your emotional connection to the story, you lose the drive to keep writing because you're staying on the surface. And that's no fun for you, and it's certainly no fun for your readers. I've seen writers abandon novels and memoir right before the most important scenes because they didn't want to go to those dark or vulnerable places. But here's what I've learned from working with hundreds of writers. The scenes you're most afraid to write are usually the ones your story needs most. These are the moments that need to be told. So here's a reframe. Resistance is a compass. If a scene feels uncomfortable to write, it most likely matters. That's exactly where the story's heartbeat is. That discomfort you feel, it's not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign you're about to do something right. Your readers don't connect with perfect characters and perfect situations. They connect with characters who struggle with the same fears and doubts they do. They want to see someone face what they're afraid to face. So the next time you notice yourself dodging a scene, lean in. Ask yourself, what is my character really feeling here? What would it cost them to be completely honest in this moment? What are they afraid to admit, even to themselves? That's your novel asking you to be brave. And when you answer that call, that's when your story truly comes alive. Okay, on to reason number 4. You're overloaded with advice. Writers today are drowning in information and different ways of approaching their story. So which one is right? You have Save the Cat. You have the hero's journey. You have the 3-act, 5-act, 7-act, the snowflake method, pantser versus plotter. You have different podcasts and YouTubers each telling you something different about character arcs. 50 blog posts about the rules of dialogue. No wonder you feel paralyzed. I get it. You want to write the best book possible, so you consume everything you can find. But here's what actually happens. Instead of writing, you're researching how to write. Instead of making progress, you're second-guessing every choice because some expert said you should do it differently. The truth is, you don't need all the frameworks. You don't need to master every technique before you start. You need one approach that makes sense to you and the confidence to trust yourself with it. Every published novel breaks somebody's rules. Every great story ignores some piece of conventional wisdom. The frameworks are tools, not holy writ. So use what helps, ignore what doesn't. So if you've been binging books, podcasts, and YouTube channels, but not actually writing, hit pause on the advice, clear your head, pick one simple structure, maybe just beginning, middle, and end, stick with it, and move forward. You can always learn more after you finish this draft. But right now, your job isn't to be perfect, it's to be done. So stop researching and start writing it. Okay, last one, reason 5. You've lost momentum. Writing a novel or a memoir is a marathon, and momentum is everything. If you take long breaks, maybe you got busy with work or life got complicated. It happens to all of us. Or you just lost steam. Each restart feels like pushing a boulder uphill. You waste the first hour rereading what you wrote weeks ago, trying to lock back into it, trying to remember where you left off, and the story starts feeling heavier than it really is. Meanwhile, the voice in your head gets louder. This isn't as good as I remembered. Maybe I should start over. Maybe this whole idea is stupid. That's not your inner critic being honest. That's what happens when you lose connection with your story and you doubt yourself. But here's what I've learned over the years. Momentum isn't about writing for hours every day. It's about staying connected to your story, staying connected to your material. The good news is you don't need marathon writing days. You need steady, consistent ones. Even 20 minutes a day will build momentum, and momentum is what carries you across the finish line. Even if you're not writing, your subconscious is always working on this story, so trust it. When you show up regularly, even if it's just to write one paragraph, you stay in the story's world. You remember why you cared about these characters. You keep the emotional thread alive. So ask yourself, what's the smallest, most doable rhythm you can commit to this week? Maybe it's 15 minutes every morning with your coffee. Maybe it's writing one page every day on your lunch break. Maybe it's just opening the document and reading the last paragraph you wrote. The key is consistency over intensity. I love intensity, but consistency is really important. A novelist who writes 200 words a day will finish their book. A novelist who writes 2,000 words once a month will not. So stick with it. Just be consistent. Protect your writing time like you would any other important appointment, because it is important. So if your novel is stalled, check in with yourself. Am I trying to be perfect as I go instead of pushing forward and riding that energy? Am I missing a clear roadmap for my character arc? Am I avoiding the hard emotional truths my story demands? Am I drowning in too much advice instead of just writing? Or have I simply lost momentum by not showing up consistently? Once you name the block, you can move through it. And here's the thing. Most writers deal with more than one of these at the same time. That's totally normal. Just pick the one that feels most true right now and address that first. Your story is waiting for you. It doesn't need you to have all the answers. It doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to keep showing up, keep putting words on the page, and trust that you'll figure it out as you go. Remember, your book doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be written, and you've got this. So there you have it. I hope you found this episode useful. I'll see you next week, same time, same place. Till then, keep writing, and I'll talk to you soon.